Hey, everybody, welcome to What the Flick, Daredevil Season 2. There are 5 of us, but we can never all be here at the same time, apparently.
Sorry.
Francis is back. Alonso, Meredith, Bibbs. Looking at episodes 10, 11, and 12, The Man in the Box, 380, and The Dark at the End of the Tunnel. You know, we had said before that maybe this show was spinning too many plates, and now we have zombie vampires or something thrown into the mix.
They're really non-specific so far, and it's a little frustrating.
But yet creepy. I watched it late night and I was
Yeah,
creeped
that's
out.
fair.
Sure.
That's fair.
Okay. I don't know. Like, there's so much mystery going on.
So much mysticism.
That, like, I don't know. Like, I remember. So we got the whole. Well, I guess we're starting with the hand. We'll start with the hand. Sure. We've got their creepy blood people, and they're just like, I want to give my blood to the big coffin guy, and so they do that. And then a bunch of people die, and Rosario Dawson's like, you're only in it for the money. And then she throws her thing. And then we find out that Elektra was the chosen one.
She's been the Black Sky all along.
Well, what about, why was there another Black Sky last season?
There's
more than
there?
one?
Yeah,
there was the kid.
The
And then
kid.
and then Stan killed him. So obviously there's more than one.
So, okay, so which, obviously, like, Elektra is tied to the hand in the comics.
Maybe she was the runner-up.
Yeah, right?
So if the lead Black Sky cannot fulfill his duties,
No, I think she was, like, the main one. Like, she was, like, the heir to the hand the whole time. Like, I was waiting for them to reveal that she was Nobu's kid.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect.
Yeah, well, I like this as more of an educational process for me because I never read the comics, as I know, and for me it's so much more confusing as we talk about. Last season it was so simple, right? We had first kid, his hand and everything, and they were all connected. But it's still not taking me away from how intrigued I am in the storyline and how all these pieces are going to come together at certain points. But I was wondering what Elektra's role was, and I was hoping I could get some clarification as to what. I'm trying to figure out what's like. Obviously, it's supposed to be complex what side she's on and who she's there hindering or what her role is completely. But I'm still confused as to how she plays into all the missing pieces. That's why I was kind of hoping.
That's you know what? You can throw the comics out the window right now because they're obviously taking the overall arc of Elektra, where she's a very complicated character. Her and Daredevil have a great relationship, but then she also ultimately sides with the hand, and she takes them over, and oftentimes she's pitted against Daredevil, and there's a lot of animosity there, but there's also a deep love, and so I think they're building to bigger things. I don't want to say too much because I don't know how episode 13 is going to end. I don't know how that's going to go, but I think I guess what frustrates me, again, and I said this last episode, and you guys out there in the comments are going to hate this, and you're going to interpret this the wrong way too. The writing makes it that these characters who are very complex, it makes them very two-dimensional and flat. There are the reasonings behind them. I love that Elektra has these wonderful motivations, but it's falling flat for me. I don't understand. Like I just don't know. I don't know, Francis. She's boring.
She's some answers here,
I don't know either.
I'm going to
give me some answers.
I'm going to call foul on these few episodes because there's really good stuff in the episodes, and we're going to talk about it in a minute. Every time they explain something, they accidentally seem to make it more confusing.
They do.
With Elektra, but even with Frank Castle. So we finally find out that the attorney, whoever she is, district attorney. The district attorney is finally just like, I'm going to confess all my crimes to you guys, even though I have no reason specifically to do it to you guys.
Well, no,
but then
she does. The daughter is in peril.
But
She doesn't tell them.
Unless she knew that Matt Murdock was Daredevil. That would be the only
No. They were. I bought that because they were Castle's attorneys, and so they would have some idea of where he might be once he got out of jail.
It was weird. After all the subterfuge she perpetrated, now it was an odd moment, but regardless, fine. But then she tells the whole story. Okay, so there was an undercover sting. Castle's family got in the way. The undercover sting just happened to be with this guy called the Blacksmith, who just happened to be a guy that Frank Castle served with in the war, who just happened to have a thing going on where Frank Castle's family was, who just happened to offer
New
Frank
York
Castle.
is a small town,
Very
right?
small town, as we learned.
There's not that many people, and there's not that many places,
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing, though. At least I can give it this, because in the world of comics, in the world of comic book movies, everything does tie together in, like, you have it's 1 degree, maybe 2 degrees of separation. This is like smaller than the Kevin Bacon game, okay? I buy that. I will at least buy that.
And if we've learned anything from The Flash, when Clancy Brown shows up in a military uniform, no good can come of it.
Here's the funny thing, because like when they talk about what they did was they hid the most obvious twist behind a different obvious twist they didn't go for, which is you say like, oh, there's going to be a guy called the Blacksmith, and your first thought is, ooh, I wonder what supervillain that is. Do I know that? Did they introduce that after I left the comics? Is that a code for another? Is that going to be like the Mad Thinker, and Daredevil's going to fight an awesome android or something?
Or which seemingly random character whom we've already been introduced to?
Exactly. Like who is the only prominent actor in this season who just showed up, did like a speech, and then left? Clancy Brown. And then like Karen goes to his house, and they just linger on it like it's that opening scene from Brett Ratner's Red Dragon, whereas you're just like waiting, you're just like when's she gonna notice some vital clue? She's gonna notice a vital clue. She's gonna notice a vital clue,
even when they panned to the photographs, I saw it was the one guy, and then they go back, and I'm like, in case you didn't see it the first time around,
it's like
Karen.
a Murder, She Wrote
I know.
episode.
I guess that's just my problem with this season of Daredevil. It just seems it's overstuffed, and it's just kind of lazy. I mean,
I feel that that's comic books in general, though.
Yeah, but do you think?
Not the better Daredevil stories, I think, are a lot.
But at the same time, it's all open to interpretation. No matter how clustered it is, I'm still drawn into every scene that John Bernthal's in, right? Because everyone talks about how good an actor he is, but he's easily pushing for me this season just to the same level as last season. Simply because of every scene he's in.
But
his interpretation with Karen.
How do you feel this compares to Jessica Jones?
I mean, Jessica Jones, a very similar point of view to what I had to the opening season of Daredevil. I never knew about it before. I was just all, I was in awe.
Take the comics out of it.
I thought it was a well-structured season, but it was so easy. You had one villain and you had one real motive behind it. But I feel like we've already done that with Daredevil. We've done it with obviously Wilson Fisk. But when you look at someone like the Punisher, he's such a complex character because you've got both sides, whether or not you feel him as a villain or an antagonist. So you have to introduce some other antagonists into the scene who are clearly bad guys. For the people who don't want to have to just watch it to try and figure out the personality between them both, and you just want to be able to see those guys are bad. What's he going to do with those in comparison to what Mad Murdock's going to do?
Of course.
I think because we've gotten to episode 12, it's at least clear now that they are not wrapping this thing up in 13 episodes.
No.
They are leaving things for season 3, which is fine, you know. But you're right. There's so much on the table now. It's kind of like, are you going to resolve any of this?
I think what just drives me nuts is that they've diverged the Punisher and Elektra storyline so much, and it's kept Matt out of both.
I agree with that.
And that's
I agree with that.
Yeah, I want.
It's unfocused.
I want it.
Especially when you then add Wilson Fisk into the Punisher storyline.
I feel like they were just trying. That was a way of being like, hey, we've not forgotten about him. He's still there. He's ruling the prison. By the way, in that prison scene of the Punisher, that takes preference over all other scenes for me in terms of the fight scene.
That was
like,
how many fucking hallways though?
I know.
The hallway of the hospital, that narrow diner. It's like another hallway
you pass through every single day.
And I don't
fight any Daredevil
and I don't fight any ninjas in any of them.
We heard
and
you
it's
like
nothing
hallways,
but the hallways.
so we gave you a hallway for your 80 hallway scenes.
But again,
I thought the diner scene though with Karen was great.
That was cool.
And again,
Good.
like there have been previous sequences on this show where I thought like where the writing only works because John Bernthal's really selling it.
Yeah.
This was a scene where the writing was actually really on point, and those two actors are really selling it.
Because if you like in The Walking Dead, still goes as one of my favorite seasons ever. It's because of the way he talks. He's so convincing, but at the same time, he's such a dick. Like there's something about him that he's so condescending, but also convincing. And when he's talking to Karen, like you can see her mind start to work in different ways because of the way he's pushing her. Because he's pushing for those answers that he knows so clearly because he's lost everything. So each scene between him and Karen, it just engrosses me in it every time I'm watching it.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the moment, and it's got to come, when someone just gives Frank a shirt. Just like, hey, Frank, we got you this shirt. We put that picture of your skull on it, just to show that we're buds.
We love that X-ray, so we thought we'd turn it into a logo.
Because it's either going to be as awkward as the "here's your shirt" scene in the Thomas Jane Punisher, or they're never going to give him the shirt, and it's just going to justify the Dolph Lundgren Punisher for forever. And it's just because that's a good Punisher movie, he just doesn't wear the shirt.
I loved when he went into the cabin and you had the flak jacket and it had the Punisher skull. I'm like, give me that. Why didn't you put that on? I want to see you walk out. And then somehow it gets covered in paint.
And meanwhile, Foggy, gets shot, recovers, and do we think he's going to go work for Hamlin McGill now? Or
yeah, right. Where's that crossover?
Well, there's all this. Here's the thing. Another thing that they set up this season they haven't really done much with it is the whole Roxxon corporation, all the corporate corruption going on, and putting Foggy in a larger firm situates us to actually investigate different kinds of corruption within the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah,
true.
So that would actually make a lot of sense to me. Is you put him in there, just throw Matt to the wolves, like have Matt just like be like an insane homeless person. Just like at the end, he's just like, everyone left me. And he's just like, whatever, like fine.
That's for Thor. They're doing that for Thor.
And Karen Page, journalist, I think is also handy in that.
I like it.
love
She was a little bit annoying at the start. Earlier season, by the way, I had my flaws between Foggy and Karen as well. I felt they were just always complaining. I mean, rightly so. Matt never showed up for work, basically. But I also was struggling a little bit. I know he's got amazing powers to sense what's going on, but I also didn't buy that he wouldn't check in on Foggy when the whole thing was going on in the hospital. I felt
but he did. He was. That's
that's
why
what
he
I'm
said he
saying.
watched it.
But still, I would have felt like when Rosario Dawson was like, be a human for once. Like,
Go
go
see
down
your
the
friend.
I felt like that's a scene where,
Also,
okay, we know he's trying to distance himself, but go and see
Can
something.
we address how crazy his powers have gotten? Like he can sense sand in a train car. He can just kind of sense everything. Like I'm like, wow, Matt, you're just like you have X-ray vision. I don't know, like how your sonar works. It's just written out the window, and it works when it wants to work for him.
But at least they give us that scene where the ninjas figure out that he can hear the weapons, and so now he's got to listen for them occasionally breathing. Like okay,
and Stick gives him that, but still, there are times where
you're right. There are moments where it's very much blindness ex machina.
I think it's the sort of thing where it's hard to incorporate that into every single scene, and so sometimes they forget to incorporate it at all. It's like in Spider-Man 3 when they forgot Spider-Man had a spider sense.
Yeah.
Like
or 99%.
99% of that movie, spider sense is non-existent.
Yeah.
Or
not even mentioned.
Yeah.
So all right, we're winding down. This has been this is a season that runs a little hot and cold, but I think when it's hot, it's very hot.
I just you know what this has taught me, and our conversation here has taught me. We just need that Punisher series. That's what we need.
Which they're promising, I think, now, right?
It's only they gotta.
I can't imagine they wouldn't.
And then I want to see Rosario Dawson, night nurse.
I want a night nurse series.
What's weird is that she's not the night nurse, and supposedly they're reserving the night nurse for Doctor Strange.
No, but that's the thing. There's multiple night nurses. If you read the original Night Nurse miniseries, there's 4 night nurses. Wow. So you can have it's a title.
Oh,
it's
you're
not a
right. The
character.
70s night nurse. You're right.
So we can have many night nurses.
Right.
And it'd be like Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is like the best school ever. It's like they go to school and I just sit here and I'm like, when's my test? Can I learn?
Loving all of this.
Really, I'm just marking time until ABC gives us that damage control series.
Yes.
But in the meantime,
I remember you'll say
I can't wait.
Good.
All right, so we'll be back next week with the finale, and maybe we'll all 5 be here at the same time.
I
Who
hope
knows?
so.